Hi students, welcome to our next session. It is a new session of our 7th and ninth lesson. Of course, don't get confused as I wrote two lesson names on the board. The concepts of these two lessons we are going to learn as a mixture. That is, some part of the 7th lesson we discuss first. After stopping that discussion, we will go to the ninth chapter and we will learn some concepts, and again we'll come to 7th chapter. Again we will move on to ninth chapter. Again we'll come back to 7th. Like that we will go. Okay, because as these two chapters are interrelated, both dependent on one another, my way of suggestion is to learn these two in a parallel manner. That is, some concepts will pick from the 7th lesson, some concepts will pick from the ninth lesson. Like that, the mixture of two chapters we are going to learn. I hope you understood. Some topics from 7th lesson we learn, we'll stop there and we'll come back. The relative concepts are there in ninth one, that we will learn, and we'll go back to 7th. Like that, our total, after certain days or certain sessions, we come to a conclusion where all the topics which are there in our these two lessons will be covered. Okay, and every time writing this much is a complex task for me. So whenever I write the next session onwards, I'll say chapter number 7 and 9. Okay. This to get rid of the confusion, I'm making the one more clarity, that I'm writing here part 1. This is the part 1. Okay. If in the next session I'll write 7th and 9th chapter 7 and 9, part 2, chapter 7 and 9, part 3. Like that we will go, so there is no confusion for you. Okay. So as the definition, or as the name which is suggesting on the board, first we will learn what is mean by an atom is. Okay. What is an atom is. Okay. Keep in mind, these two lessons are very much important. These two lessons are very, very, very important to understand so many concepts, to understand the total chemistry part of our ninth class, or probably of our 10th class 6 lessons discussion. Somehow some topics will be is depending on these two lessons itself. All the discussions what will go with this. Okay, pay the attention towards these two lessons, so that it will be helpful for you in your future, in your 10th class, intermediate, or if you go in higher studies also. These two lessons till end, all parts whatever we are going to share, that all will be taken as important, and concentrate more on this while learning. Okay, we'll go in a smooth and slow manner, so that the fruitness or the taste of this chapters can be grabbed by you. Okay, or the taste of these concepts is like just fingertips work for you. Okay, autumn is a small tiny particle which cannot be further divided. Is called atom. That is, a small tiny particle which cannot be further divided is called atom of that respective substance. Okay, What does it mean? What does it mean? Okay, suppose assume this chalk piece as an iron or iron piece or a gold or silver, any substance, for example. This I am dividing this iron, assuming iron, I am using the respective technique to dividing that piece and dividing that and dividing again, further dividing again, it is getting divided, again divided. I am going to reach to a place, I am going to reach to a small tiny particle where I am not able to further divide that substance. Further divided, I reach to a place where it is a very small particle where I am not able to divide that I am not able to further divide. Okay, that stage of a respective substance, or that stage of a particular substance, is the respective atom of that substance. Okay, if I just an example, I took the iron and I am dividing, reached to a place where I got a small particle where I am not able to further divide. That small tiny particle of iron is considered as the atom of the iron. Okay, I hope you understood. Take any gold, divided, where I am reaching to a small particle where I am not able to further divide. Okay, that is the small particle. The small particle is the atom of the gold, the respective substance. Okay, every matter around us consists or possess their respective atoms. Okay. Now, suppose for example oxygen, if I take the oxygen what we inhale, the oxygen is also taken as a substance where it also consists the respective atoms. Hydrogen also has the respective atoms. Carbon dioxide which we are going to exhale, that also have the respective atoms. Okay, that means the substances what we are going to take into the consideration possess their respective atoms of that type. Okay, now what is a molecule? That's what we have to learn first. What is molecule is? Before going to learn what is a molecule, we have some chemical reactions and we have some proposals which have proposed by our scientists that we will learn. Then afterwards we come back to the session of what is a molecule is. First, as an initial primary information or the definition, as per that, atom is a small tiny particle which cannot be further divided, is called atom of a respective substance. That much you keep in mind. And what are the laws and what are the experiments which are conducted and what are the laws that are suggested by our scientists? That's what we are going to learn now by performing some activities. We have an activity that is in page number 101. All of you go to page number 101. That is chapter number 7. Atoms, molecules and chemical reactions is the chapter. A small review that I am going to read, a small content that I am going to read, so that it is going to give some additional information for our discussion. Okay. In this chapter, that is 7th chapter, that what were in the chapter is matter around us is pure or is matter pure. In the last lesson, that what we have discussed in the last session, we use the term element and compounds. Of course, a small discussion we have taken. We learned about the role of separation of the techniques in identifying the elements, the pure components obtained after separation or purification are elements or compounds. That was a small discussion. We are going to learn about the compounds and elements and what are the molecules, that in detail in here. Okay. In this chapter, we can use this knowledge to explain some of the observations made in previous lessons, like the rusting of iron, which is kept rusting of iron, which is kept outside. Okay, when the iron is kept as outside, after some days the iron get rusted. That is, the strength of the iron will be lost due to the formation of rust on it, and due to the reaction between the air and water moisture present in the atmosphere, the rust gets reacted with that, and the iron gets rusted. Okay, why this happens? Okay, because it happens due to some chemical reaction taking place by the air present in the atmosphere and water moisture and with the iron. The iron gets rusted. Why it is going to happen, what is making to form the rust, that all sessions that we are going to discuss in detail here. Okay, now does the weight of the iron rod increases or decreases on rusting? Of course, obviously it decreases. We notice that on burning the charcoal, it leaves hash and so at the end. Okay, when we burn a charcoal, if you burn a charcoal, the charcoal after burning it turns to hash. Where does this charcoal go? Okay, that is, where does the matter of charcoal go? Where it go? Wet cloths dry after some time. Where does the water go? These questions and several other similar questions fascinated scientists for many years. This type of questions have fascinated scientists for many years. They are creating some interest to learn about what is happening here for the in the scientist mind. But burning and combustion reactions puzzled them a great extent. Okay, burning and combustion reaction that has made the scientists like a puzzle for the great extent. In our metals and non-metals chapter in our 8th class, that if you remember it would good. Okay, what happens is the magnesium? What happens to the magnesium on burning in the air? Okay, we have if I take a magnesium strip, which is in a solid form, and if I burn by introducing to this flame, if I burn this magnesium strip is going to give the hash. The white color hash will be formed at this point at the end. Why this magnesium strip, solid form of this magnesium strip is going to while it is burning, why it is going to form as a hash? Okay, that's what happens to the sulfur on burning in the air. Are the weights of the reactants and product are same or different? These are few questions which has puzzled or created interest to the scientists to work on this topic, to develop the chemistry part, which is going to help in inventing so many reactions and studying the natures of substances and molecules, atoms, and so many chemical reactions has been got a conclusion by these all questions, and as they are creating the interest to learn about the chemistry part for the scientists. These are as a part why this all happening, what are the molecules, what are the atoms are, and what are the chemical reaction, what is the atoms consist of. These are all questions. In order to understand these all questions, why this magnesium strip is going to give the hash, what this hash is called as. In order to give all these answers for all these questions, we are going to study the 7th and 9th lessons in detail. Every topic from the day 1 or from the part 1 to the day end, that is the last part what we are going to post, is very much important and very much interested and helpful to learn about chemistry part in our daily activities or in our study education field or in your further studies. So let's start our discussion with an activity. That is, do you know segment? We have a do you know segment. Anthony Lavoisier Anthony Lavoisier is in 1743 to 1794 was a French nobleman. Is a French nobleman. He made an important contribution to chemistry, and so call him as father of modern chemistry. This type of some small questions there is a chance of asking who is the father of modern chemistry. Anthony Lavoisier. He contributed so many facts and so many interesting experimental conclusions and observations. Lavoisier studied combustion reaction in detail. Okay, Lavoisier studied the combustion reaction in detail. He was able to find the mass of reactant and mass of the product accurately, irrespective of their physical states. Based on his observation, he proposed the law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. So Anthony Lavoisier has proposed the law of conservation of mass. That's what we are going to discuss. What is mean by the law of conservation of mass? This is our topic today. Okay? Small experiment. You can refer to page number 102 in your textbooks. Page number 102. It is in this chapter we use the following terms. It is elements, compounds, reactants and products. Discuss with a friend on the doll. Let us carry out the lab activity to observe what happens to the weight of the reaction and products during the chemical reaction. That is the lab activity which is being stated in page number 102. That's what we are going to perform here, and we are going to get some observation. We are going to have some information regarding that. Okay, very important activity and very easy activity which gives certain information for us. Important contribution to us which will help in further studies. That is aim of the activity. That is aim of the activity is to find out the change in the mass before and after chemical reactions. Okay. So what are the materials required here is in the material required segment. While writing keep in mind while writing a reaction or while writing experiment or a lab activity or a activity or writing any content about a particular information about a particular reaction, you have to write aim and you have to write the materials required, then a procedure segment, then what do we observe if a chemical reaction, what is a chemical reaction taken place. It is a chemical reaction segment, and our observation. Based on our observation, what is the conclusion? If we have any additional information, we write in the info segment. That is the main topic. This aim. What are the materials required, and what is the procedure to execute, and any chemical reaction is there. That chemical reaction will write observation and conclusion. Like that, we have to follow. Okay. So materials required in the materials required segment, lead nitrate is there. Lead nitrate is we can take as the chemical formula for lead nitrate is PbNO3 of 2. What is this? This is the chemical formula. What is this? All we will learn in detail. This we will learn how to write. If it is lead nitrate, why it is in the form of PbNO3 of 2. That all we will discuss in detail. We have a very good discussion for this. What is lead nitrate and all, how it is formed. A very good and interesting discussion we have in further topics. Okay. Lead nitrate. Take lead nitrate. That is PbNO3 of 2, the chemical formula of this lead nitrate. This lead nitrate is a chemical. What is this all? We will discuss in detail. Okay. And we have potassium. I'm occupying the space because the experiment can be explained there. Okay. Concern here. Potassium potassium iodide. Potassium iodide, the chemical formula is Ki. Potassium iodide we have to take, and distilled water. Distilled water you have to take, and 2 conical flasks. One spring balance we want. Small test tube we want. And retort stand we want, and rubber cork. We want a thread we want. These are some materials, or these are the materials, not some, these are the materials which are going to help us in order to conduct the activity, or in order to check the activity, what is going to happen about before reaction and further substances, before reaction and after reaction, what happened to the mass of the substances which are there for the before reaction and which are there for the after reaction. This is what is our agenda of this activity. To give some information about, to get the more information, I am just taking some small example actually here. A small example which will help you to understand the concept. Suppose hydrogen is, try to understand what are the reactants and what are the products, what is the main intention of the products and this law of conservation of mass. That's what I want to tell you. Hydrogen is reacting with oxygen, is going to give a water molecule. Hydrogen is reacting with oxygen. Why H2, why O2, why it is in the form of H2O. That all we will tell, what all we will discuss in detail. Just as it is the initial stage, just go through that what I am explaining. Hydrogen, when it is writing in the reaction form, we will write like this. That is, hydrogen is reacting with oxygen. Okay. This plus symbol is used to explain reaction between that. Hydrogen is reacting with oxygen, gives rise to, that produces, gives rise to water molecule. Okay. Of course, we have to balance this equation. What is the balancing? That all I will tell you in detail. This side, beside the arrow, before the arrow, this we call as reactants. And after this we are calling as products. Of course, depending on the reactants, the products may be 1, 2 or 3 also sometimes. This segment, the left side of the arrow is considered as reactants. These are all, that means which are going to participate in the reaction. This we are calling as reactants. This after the arrow, this which are called as products. What are formed, that is called in the chemical reaction, is called products. Here this gives rise to, or gives rise to, or we can say produces. What it is going to produce? If both are reactant, gives rise to, or both are reactants, produces H2O, water molecule. This is the product. Okay. Now, what is the main intention of our law of conservation of mass is the mass of the reactants. What is the mass of the reactants? Suppose if it is X grams, the mass of the combined mass of this plus mass of this, mass of the hydrogen and mass of the oxygen, if I take X grams before reaction, is the mass of the water molecule is also X grams. Will the mass of this product, will the mass of the product, that is water molecules which are H2O is going to form, is also is of X grams. It is mass of the reactant and mass of the products, whether they are same or not, whether they are equal or not, that's what we are going to check. Okay, that is the intention of conducting conducting the law of conservation of mass. That is nothing. Conserving is nothing but preserving and retaining the same, or having the same, or possessing the same value before and after. Preserved, conserved, or possessing the same value, retaining, that all are the same concern, same concern about our topic. That is whether the reactant's mass is conserved or is the same as the mass of the products, or as the mass of the product is same or conserved of the mass of the reactants is or not, is our main concern. Okay, that's what we are going to have a close observation by conducting the law of conservation of mass experiment, which is suggested by Anthony Lavoisier. Okay, to do this experiment, I hope you understood what we are going to discuss. That is whether the mass of the reactants is same as the mass of the product, or is the mass of the product is same as the mass of the reactant. It is whether these two masses, reactants mass and product mass, it is going to be same before and after chemical reaction. That is the mass is conserved. That's what is our main agenda of this conducting this activity. So what we have to do as a first step, prepare a solution of lead nitrate. Lead nitrate solution you have to take by first procedure. In the procedure segment, what is given is prepare the solution of lead nitrate by dissolving approximately 2 grams of lead nitrate in 100 grams of distilled water in a conical flask. Okay. So what we have to do? First we have to take a conical flask. In this conical flask we have to take 100 ml of distilled water. Of distilled water, and we have to add 2 grams of lead nitrate, PbNO3 of 2. Lead nitrate, I am using 2 grams of lead nitrate. If I add, this will become lead nitrate solution. This will become respective solution, lead nitrate solution. In the same way, take one more conical flask. Again, here you take 100 ml of water again. 100 ml distilled water again. Here add 2 grams of potassium iodide. 2 grams of Ki, potassium iodide we have to add. After adding potassium iodide, we will get this will be converted into potassium iodide solution. Simple. If you take a glass of water and add salt, after dissolving salt, it will become salt solution. In the same way, take 100 ml of distilled water, add lead nitrate, it will become lead nitrate solution. Add 100 ml of water in a conical flask. Don't concern, I am not good at drawing as like you. Take a conical flask, 100 ml of water and add lead nitrate, potassium iodide. So 2 grams of potassium iodide, it gives potassium iodide solution. Okay. Now what happens? We have to take a test tube. A small test tube we have to take. We have to take a small test tube. Otherwise I am drawing here. Take a small test tube. Take 5 ml of potassium iodide solution in a small test tube from the above. Okay. From this is a 100 ml of solution. No. From that you have to take in a small test tube. You have to take 4 ml. 4 ml of this solution to be taken here. Okay. This is 4 ml of Ki, potassium iodide. From this 100 ml of potassium iodide solution in a test tube, we have to take 4 ml of potassium iodide solution. Okay, I hope you understood this. Now what you do, tie a thread to this tie a thread to this test tube, and hang this test tube in the first conical flask, that is lead nitrate solution conical flask, such that these two test tubes, these two mixtures, that is the mixture which is potassium iodide which is present in the test tube, should not mix with the lead nitrate solution which is present in the conical flask. Such that, like that, we have to hang. Okay, what does it mean? Assume this is a conical flask. Again, the same conical flask I am taking here. This is PbNO3 of 2 solution. Okay, here I am taking the test tube. I am hanging the test tube which contains Ki. And we have to hang it with the help of a thread, and we have to close the cork. We have to close the mouth of the cork, mouth of this conical flask with the help of a cork. Keep in mind, have a close observation that the mixture in the test tube and the mixture in the conical flask should not mix up. Okay, now this total setup we have to attach to a spring balance. Or weighing machine. This should be attached to a spring balance. And this spring balance should be attached to a retort stand. We have to attach as shown in the figure number 1. After this, we will have some information. Before mixing up these two, we will have some information about, we have some weight measured on this spring balance. Suppose this shows some X grams. This you take you note down in a book. Now what you do? You tilt and shake this conical flask such that both the mixtures are going to mix up. Both are going to mix up where the conical flask is inside now. Okay, when these two mixtures are mixed up, we are going to get new substances will be formed. In that is a lead iodide and potassium nitrate will be formed in that. A new substance which is going to give as a yellow color. New substance is going to form. It is new substance now due to the reaction between these two. Due to the reaction between these two mixtures, a new substances are going to form here. That is lead iodide, and we have potassium nitrate. Is going to form. Lead iodide and potassium nitrate is going to form. This is the product. Again, after checking this mass, after forming the products, after checking the mass, again it also shows the same X grams. Okay, what does we conclude? That is what we observe. From this, what does we conclude? What we can conclude is the before reaction, whatever is the mass, that is X grams. After mixing up these two, that that is lead iodide and potassium nitrate is going to form a new substance. Okay, before it is lead nitrate and potassium iodide. After mixing, it will form lead iodide and potassium nitrate. Okay, how it is going to form, that we are going to discuss in the next sessions. That is, new substances are going to form, where that mass, the mass of those substances also we notice in the spring balance reading as X grams again. That means the mass of the reactant is X grams, for example, and mass of the products also X grams here. Mass of the reactant is x grams and mass of the products also x grams in our example that what we have conducted. This shows that come to a conclusion that as per the Anthony Lavoisier's law of conservation of mass experiment, whatever the mass of the reactant is will be the same mass will be possessed, same mass, I'm talking about same mass will be possessed by the products. That is, the mass of the reactants, what we conclude is the mass of the reactants will be always equal to the mass of the products. That is the main concern or main theme or information which is going to be provided by the law of conservation of mass, which is suggested by the law of Anthony Lavoisier. Okay, simple. The main concept of this is to know about whether the law of conservation of mass is being applied in a chemical reaction. That we came to a conclusion that yes, the mass of the reactants will be equal to the mass of the products. That is, whatever the mass is there for the reactants, that will be the same mass will be possessed by the products after reaction. Okay, I hope you understood this session. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. This part 1, part 2 will help you to understand so many concepts in your higher studies if you are associated with chemistry. Thank you very much.